Okay, now I got my stuff settled as dad. I gave him a piece of my mind and I threw a bunch of angry texts at him. He understood why Dad got cranky, and I explained to him why I got cranky is because he kept on interrupting my review. But now that's not that happened, so... Anyway, where was I? Okay, so... I'm going to start where the last thing I said. So, he gives the answer to Connor's problems, and Peter takes credit for it, even though his dad is the one that came up with it. So he could be friends with Kurt Connors and is supposed to pick up Aunt May from work, and starts working with Kurt Connors on the project until they come up with a solution on this high-tech virtual reality, like high-tech computer, called the Three-Legged Mice, and working on how he can be four-legged mice, and I think it's called Sammy the Three-Legged Mice, and working on how the formula for him growing another thing using lizard DNA. And it works on the virtual thing, and Peter noticed his phone call from Uncle Ben, and anyway, they inject Sammy with the serum and tells Peter to be careful. Human trials don't start until next week, and this is a joke that Connor just made, and injects Sammy with the serum, the three-legged mice, and sees what happens. And he comes home. Uncle Ben gives her the news and finds his phone's working, and says, "Don't answer that, but I'm glad your phone's working because your aunt, who you were supposed to pick up and drive home." Pick up. And so she had to walk home, and people were supposed to pick her up from work. And Uncle Ben says she's perfectly capable of walking home by herself. And Uncle Ben says, "Don't defend him." And Peter runs off and says, "How dare you bring up my dead father? And he calls him a heartless old man, and he slams the door, closes the door and breaks it. And Uncle Ben goes after Peter, looking for him. And Peter goes to get chocolate milk, and he doesn't have enough money to pay it. The guy gets robbed. Peter lets him get robbed because he got his chocolate milk. So it's turning into a Saturday morning sitcom, huh? Okay. I cannot defend this one at this spot. Because, you know, you letting Peter, you letting a guy get robbed this so you can have a chocolate milk. I know the milk ban, but was that chocolate milk really worth letting that guy get? Well, he did insult his mommy and daddy who are dead, so okay, I can kind of see why. Okay, so I'm sorry, I didn't know Peter had a license. I keep on getting struck because there was no acknowledging Peter has a license at the age he's supposed to be 15. Unless he's 17 or 16? I don't know. Now I'm not really sure. Because we never really see him, never see his license. This was my problem with that I had was the first Spider-Man movie. It doesn't tell you Peter, they don't tell you Peter's age and acknowledge what age he is, so you're just going to have to take a wild guess that he's somewhere in the teens age. Which, I mean, he gets his powers at 15 in the comics, and this, I guess, is supposed to be him as 15, but how does he have lighting if you don't get your lessons till you're 16? It's a little confusing. I don't know. I think I might have to have my dad to look into this whole explained thing if there's an explanation there. Anyway, so Uncle Ben gets shot by the robber. The robber drops his gun and Uncle Ben goes to reach the gun, but he gets shot. Peter is traumatized by this. The police go to the house and give his Aunt May the news, and Peter acts like he doesn't know what he. Peter doesn't know what he looked like. I just realized something. Okay. So Peter goes on this vendetta hunt, trying to find his Uncle Ben's killer because this cop show him what tattoo he has, and he goes to looks for every guy who has this tattoo, and meanwhile he's making the Spider-Man costume with these very convincing stuff, how he does a very convincing way of how he makes it and how he gets the stuff. He gets stuff online, sews it together, takes glasses out of actual sunglasses and use that as the eyes, and takes an idea of what his suit could be made out of, by these two nerdy guys, and while he's still going through the street, webbing people up, and vigilantes and the cops want him arrested because he's doing their jobs, and even Peter's really not doing it for the people because it's the right thing. No, he's doing it because he wants revenge for his uncle's murder, so he's really doing it for himself. Now this is kind of an interesting idea because this is not the point when he becomes Spider-Man. It's not the point when he becomes the hero. I'll tell you the point when he starts to become that guy. And anyway, the interesting thing is, he knows who killed his Uncle Ben. He knows what the guy looks like. So what's this whole scavenger hunt for? So anyway, Peter, we see him, so we see him, in his full suit, a guy trying to rob a car, and he's cracking jokes and being a bit of a, Peter's being, cracking jokes and stuff and being a bit of a prick. I'm sorry, my brain's kind of fried by this whole thing of the stuff I noticed. So anyway, the cop sees him, what he's doing, does have to wake up and wants Peter arrested. And he says, people just don't get the scene to get the idea of the outfit. And he pulls a gun on him and does a flip and takes the gun from him. I just did 12% of your job, and that's how you pay me. And anyway, he swings off from the car while after he runs into stuff like cars and buses and stuff. And which is a really cool. So then Peter is on a date with Gwen and has dinner with Gwen's family and his father, and he tries to defend himself he saw this video on YouTube, and it looks like he's trying to do the right thing, do the right thing, taking bad guys down, like what you are trying to do, he says to her father. And he says, I protect the law and serve justice. This guy wears, it goes on chasing certain kinds of criminal, like some kind of some kind of vendetta with him wearing a mask. And he points, and Peter has this realization that he's not a hero. He just thought he was one because he was going after his Uncle Ben's killer. So it was that when he realized he's not doing this because it's the right thing, but doing this out of revenge. So Dr. Connor's experiment is going to be shut down and going to be fired if he doesn't do human trials, and he says no to this. So he does the experiment on himself and injects him with DNA and grows his a new arm back and takes a taxi to catch up to this guy, and he turns into the lizard and assumedly kills this guy because we never really see him again. I know what happens if you're going and I know what people say. There's no explanation. Look, the most, and there's the only explanation still you see. No, the explanation could be that he just got killed by a lizard and couldn't get to him in time. And so, while the lizard's killing people, he tells Gwen on the roof, and doesn't know how to tell what was for, so he tells her with action by webs her and holds her and kisses her, and she's shocked that he's Spider-Man, and Peter's spice sense kicks in, and he leaves and swings off, and Gwen says, "Oh God, I'm in trouble," and Peter goes to the bridge and puts on his Spider-Man costume and swings into the action, and this is when he starts to coming a hero, because this is when he starts being this is when he starts becoming a hero, because he's not doing it for himself anymore. He's doing it because it's the right thing, and because people's innocent lives are in danger by this lizard guy. So he just like swings in and tells a joke to the lizard guy, to the lizard, and kicks the lizard's ass, and the lizard goes off, and he says this father says his kid's trapped in one of these cars, and he webs, after webbing every car and on to the bridge, one's trapped in his kid's trapped inside the. You know, it's funny how he didn't get the rest out for the other cars. Anyway, I was letting that think into my head. So after seeing the kid is horrified by Spider-Man's parents, he just takes off the mask and says, "This is a normal guy. You want to hold us?" And he needs him to climb for me. He says, and you see his fire catch on fire, and he says, "Put the mask on. The mask is going to make you strong." And it's strong. And he does it, and he needs him to climb a little fast there, and when the car's about to fall, when the car falls, and he just webs the kid up. I don't see why he just didn't do that instead of making the kid crawl. If he could just He should have just like webbed the kid for us. Anyway, so the kid is safe, and this father asked, "Who is he?" And he said, "Spider-Man." And he swings off and gives up on chasing down his Uncle Ben killer. And he finds out Dr. Connors is the lizard, and he tells Gwen news, and it's up to him to stop him because basically it's the right thing to do. And it's when he learns who he, and this is when he and now Spider-Man has learned. Well, he hasn't learned yet. Now Spider-Man's just starting learning to be a hero, and he goes to the cop telling them the news, telling Gwen his father, but his father doesn't believe his story, so he has to go. So he has to go stop this as Spider-Man. The lizard finds out who Spider-Man is, and because he left his camera behind, and goes to the school, and everyone runs away except Spider-Man, and Spider-Man goes to trying to dodge his trying not to get attacked from Dr. Connors, and he says, and he's following this formula to try and turn, I guess, Peter and I guess mixing the chemicals for stuff, and says, "I can save them, I can cure them. There's no reason to stop me, Peter." And Peter just throws a shoe at him, and he comes out of this hole and all dressed up as Spider-Man, and he says, "You're not in your right mind, Doc. Stop it. This isn't you." As he kicks his ass and says, "Don't make me have to hurt you," as he gets thrown around with his tail. And and Gwen is still in the building, and so he webs the lizard up, and tells Gwen he's going to throw her out the window. And he does, and she's like, "What?" And throws her out the window and webs her, and so she doesn't fall to it. And the cops are not after the lizard; they're after Spider-Man. So even though it's being reported on the lizard, Gwen's father really wants Spider-Man arrested and took into police custody. So Peter goes to the sewer and sees what Dr. Connors is planning, and he's going to turn the whole world into lizards. So it's up to him to stop it, and he tells Gwen Stacy what Dr. Connors is planning. So he tells them to get out of that building, and she's not going to get out of the building. She's going to save people. Peter just tells her, and Peter's like, "You're not going to leave that building after what I just told you." And she just hangs up on him. So Peter is swinging, and he sees the police helicopters after him. They're shooting tasers at, I don't know what they called, taser bullets or something stuff at him. And one of them hits Spider-Man while he's swinging, and Spider-Man's now down on the ground. And he takes all the cops out after Gwen's father takes off the mask, and he disarms all the police officers except for one. And Gwen's father tells him to freeze, and he turns around and reveals who he is, and Peter, and he says Peter, he says he's heading to Oscorp. I gotta stop him. You gotta let me go. And he just puts on the mask, and he starts swinging, and one of the SWAT team shoots Spider-Man, and he says, he says, "Freeze, too late." He says, Gwen's father says, "Freeze, too late," and Spider-Man gets shoot, and the newscaster unclear not sure if Spider-Man's going to make it. Well, it looks like he's trying to stop this lizard guy, and as the lizard guy makes his way to Oscorp, and it looks like Spider-Man's proceeds to continually go on trying to stop him. He's losing blood, and we're not sure if he's going to make it. And the father that